Hey folks, welcome to eCommerce 360. Today we are meeting Jide, the man behind Nigeria's leading footwear brand, Keexs, which has been featured in Origin Africa, the African Fashion Show Nigeria, ENCA News, and CNN African Voices. Hey Jide, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
So Jide, just before we got on this show, I was reading about Keexs from concept to product. It was truly inspiring. But let us know from you, how did you get inspired to start this shoes or footwear brand?
Well, my story actually starts from a personal challenge. I started wearing my dad's shoes when I was about 9. And then I lost both my parents at the age of 11. So I ended up growing up with my maternal grandparents and uncles and aunties. And over the next couple of years, my feet continued to grow until I became a US size 14. So basically, I struggled a lot to find shoes that were the right size for me or the right color initially at an early age. And then as I got older, obviously, with the big size meant I also had limited options. So in 2015, I decided to solve that personal challenge of mine. I headed out to Netherlands to a school called SLEM, where I learned how to make shoes from scratch. I spent a couple of months there. But beyond that, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to create a product that could inspire people. In terms of helping people connect to their roots, tell them stories about Africa, as well as inspiration in general about things going on around us, around the world. And then also find a creative way to give back, because I was literally raised by a community. So find a creative way to also give back to community. And so Keexs was born through that Kickstarter campaign that we ran in 2015. We raised about $20,000 then. From the crowdfunding campaign. And these were basically pre-orders from different parts of the world. And following that, we basically just started to build up the company as an e-commerce company initially. We've got a warehouse in the back end, but predominantly we've used e-commerce as a major tool for driving the growth of the business.
Awesome. So it's a very soulful story that you have related. But I'm assuming you didn't have any experience initially when you started out from an entrepreneur point of view or from an e-commerce sort of ecosystem. You were never exposed to that particular ecosystem. Of course, all of us go online and buy things, but it is a very different ballgame when you have to actually, build a store on Shopify or on WooCommerce, and then, have these challenges like shipping, pricing, designing, packaging. So how did you overcome these challenges, when you started off with the brand?
Well, the first website we built was on WooCommerce. Initially, we had to engage the services of third parties, people to help us build out the website. After building out the website, I think one of the key challenges we had was fulfillment. Started off in Nigeria. I'm currently in the United States. We started off in Nigeria. And at that time, payment gateways were not exactly quite prevalent. In 2015. So we had to offer payment on delivery. In some cases, we had situations where we put up the bank details and then people have to pay to the bank. We'd have to verify that and then try to ship. And so initially, shipping was a huge challenge for us. And then we also dealt with challenges around trust. In Africa and in emerging markets like Nigeria, in 2015, people were not entirely trusting of being able to buy products online and get them delivered. So we had to introduce payment on delivery, which was one of the things that we had also gleaned from the early e-commerce adopters in the marketplace. So that was one of the key challenges we had in terms of e-commerce at the time.
Awesome. So raising capital, that's like a huge milestone for any e-commerce business. Why did you make a decision, and when did you make the decision to raise capital? And when do you think is the right time to make that decision to raise capital?
Well, as you would understand, or as you would imagine with most businesses, there's usually a learning curve with doing a business, and then also the need to adapt to the demands of the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Being in a fashion and apparel business is very capital intensive. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
scale your operations, you obviously need to have products on ground, and then you also want to put forward a lot of marketing budget and spend to be able to generate the kind of demand that you want. And that forces you literally to say, if you want to grow this business to the next level, it's imperative that you have to raise funding. So we've basically had to go through multiple rounds of fundraise.
Mm-hmm.
As I speak to you right now, I'm in the US. We're trying to raise about $1 million
Wow.
to basically achieve product market fit. We
Mm-hmm.
started off in Nigeria. We've grown the business over the last couple of years. And then there was also a demand for our products in the US and other markets. And we decided coming here, we had to learn very quickly. There was also a need to adapt to a new market. The cost of marketing in the US is totally different from marketing in Africa. It's a lot more. So
Yeah.
you want to grow the business, you have to put in a lot of money. You have to invest a lot in regulatory compliance, pivoting the business, adapting it to a new market space. In some cases, we've also had to do a lot of market research to
Mm-hmm.
realize that some of the color preferences you might have in Africa, being a very colorful continent, is totally different from the preferences that you have in a country like America, where people are a bit more minimalist in terms of their color preferences. So a lot of these things also means you have to put more money in inventory, more money in marketing. And so this has literally, the business has forced us literally to have to raise funding on a periodic basis to scale up the operations.
Okay, got it. And
Mhm.
initially, when you started talking about Keexs, you mentioned that since you were raised by a community, this was a channel through which you were paying back to your community. Let us more into what it means for you and for your brand to actually pay it forward to your to the African community.
Well, currently, one of the key initiatives that we try to do was first to start from inspiration. So, a lot of our products tell stories. We've
Mm-hmm.
had series of collections. One of the first collections we did was a Fela Kuti collection, talking about a musical activist, someone who was extremely influential in terms of his time, basically a human rights activist and musician. And today, a lot of people around the world hear about Afro beats, but
Mm-hmm.
he
Yeah.
was the one who started that movement. So a lot of people, whilst they might know the name or not know the name, there was nothing out there as a product that could really tell a story about his life and the impact he created in Africa. So we've told stories through that. For example, we also had something called the Afronuts, which was one of the
Mm-hmm.
collections we did. A Zambian team that wanted to go to space in the 1960s. I mean, it became, pop culture in Zambia, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people never knew about it in other parts of Africa and around the world. So we put that out through our products. And then the most recent one is called the Love Note, which is a collaboration with a Nigerian DC-based artist called Victor Ekbuk. And considering what has happened between 2019 to date, the COVID pandemic, the
Yeah.
wars, the challenges, the BLM, several human rights and different challenges going on around the world, we felt that we could create a product called the Love Note, which
Mm-hmm.
basically is to inspire people about how they need to, be more united and share more love amongst themselves to overcome a lot of the challenges. So the inspiration part is there. And then also giving back in terms of every single pair of products or shoes that we sell right now helps to keep a child in school for a week or more. We partner with a charity called Slum to School Africa, which is based in Nigeria. And, for every product that is sold now, we donate a certain amount of money to the charity to help sponsor the education of kids. So one of our goals is to sponsor 100 kids in 2022.
Yeah.
It's a very, very huge goal. And that
Mhm.
means we also need to drive a lot of sales to be able to do that. So that is one of the things that we do to give back.
But it's also a very powerful motivator for you to scale, right? That leads me to the
Yes.
next question about how you're planning to scale your business now that you know what your motivation is, what your goal is, which is extremely driven by purpose. How do you plan to scale your business right now in the US as well as outside Nigeria?
One of the key things that we have looked into scaling, one has been we are also trying to upgrade our website right now to accommodate more, currency options. Even though we're operating from the US, we want to give a more global outlook to our e-commerce business operations. And at the same time, we're also working with our Keexs tribe. So we have a tribe of loyal customers who we want to bring into the fold to help evangelize the brand and also drive referrals and sales. And they in turn earn something out of that. And they also know that they also helping to give back to educate other kids. So basically, it's going to be a lot of marketing spend, a lot of product diversity. We're also expanding our product portfolio beyond footwear to athleisure, apparel, accessories. So we're going to have a wider portfolio in 2022. We're also working with retail stores, third-party retail stores in the US, in Africa. So we've got presence in South Africa, Nigeria, the US. We've got some retail partners in Ghana. We've got a retail partner in Guadeloupe. And we're basically expanding our retail footprint, brick and mortar partnerships, e-commerce. So it's basically touching at least three major channels at the moment in terms of how we want to get to our consumers, aggressively.
Absolutely. You seem to have a lot in your pipeline right now, right? So, a quick question about marketing, because you've mentioned marketing in the US, how challenging it is. And you also
Yes,
talked about storytelling and
right,
about influencer-based marketing.
right.
So outside of these channels, what are the channels that work the best for you as far as marketing is concerned, specifically in the US?
One of the funny things about doing business around the world or anywhere as an entrepreneur is the need to constantly adapt to, the nuances of the marketplace and your environment. I think once upon a time, Facebook ads were extremely effective.
Yeah.
But I'm sure towards the end of last year, a lot of people noticed there was an Apple iOS upgrade, and that basically has shut off. Not shut off, but it's affected the way Facebook marketing works.
Mhm.
So obviously, there's a pivot more towards other platforms like TikTok. There's a pivot towards more influencer marketing. There's a pivot towards email marketing. There's a pivot towards experiential as well, even though with the COVID situation, we know that it's not going to be the same. But then e-commerce is changing in terms of how we market. And I think that the next wave is really more about social selling
Mhm.
in terms of, sharing this message amongst existing tribe members and getting them to support and drive the growth of the brand. So that is where we think that the next wave is going to be in social selling and
Yeah.
more direct to consumer related um,
Mhm. Mhm.
sales. Mhm.
Yeah, building strong relationships with customers, with your community, and with the
Correct.
audience you're targeting. That's the next big wave.
Correct.
So we are towards the end of this podcast, and before we wrap it, I just wanted to know from you what would be your number one advice to e-commerce business owners or any owners with products they want to sell. What would be your number one advice if they are starting now or if they are in the brink of, should I start or should I not? That's sort of, in the cusp.
Um, I think that the key advice that I'll give to anyone is to focus on the customer. The customer is king. The customer, the customers of today know what they want. So I don't think we ask customers enough what they want or what they'll like to see. customers should become more involved in the product development process. They should get them more involved in, helping to guide the brand direction, especially in the fashion space. You're not entirely recreating something new, but you're doing incremental changes. So it's great to get the customer involved in the creative process so that they feel like stakeholders of the brand and in turn be able to help you actually drive the growth.
Amazing. Awesome advice. Thank you so much, Jide, to come on the show and give us a lot of deep insights about how to expand, how to start, and how to importantly market your product, which involves, not just marketing and just selling. It's also about creating a purpose, having a story to tell, and also connecting with your customers. Thank you so much, Jide.
Thank you so
it was a
much.
fantastic conversation.
All right. Thank you so much.